What's going on, wrestling fans? You are tuned in live to Wrestling Warm-Up. That's right here, WrestlingRumors.net. Your boy, Doug O'Mac, coming at you with our boy, Alex B-Song from WrestlingRumors.net. What's up, buddy?
Pretty good. I mean, we had a very good 15 minutes of Survivor Series, but the big guy came back down.
Man, what happened there, dude? I mean, you and John and Walter last night on warm-up before the show were all about the Ryback. Thought the Ryback would be the lone survivor. What happened?
What happened was what happens every time the Ryback's on pay-per-view and the company would like to kind of screw him over. He lost cheap again. He got a curb stomp. Then Rusev pinned him, I believe, which is... I mean, I just really think he had to at least survive on Team Cena, or at least at the very bare minimum. Just don't have him get eliminated first. He's eliminated right off the bat. Why couldn't they have done the Big Show heel turn? Kind of. I know they started the match with Big Show knocking out Mark Henry, but why not kind of tease that to have Cena be the first guy eliminated? Then you have three guys who are all fighting for their jobs, and then you can have Ryback get eliminated in that manner.
Yeah, well, I mean, I agreed with you guys that would be the logical thing to do, the way that they booked him the weeks before. But I disagreed that it would happen because I did not see Ryback getting that kind of push. I don't think that the company is so high on him that they're going to put all their eggs in his basket. Again, I think he's a lot better than he was 2 years ago. I think he definitely is better than he was 2 years ago. He's not as careless or as reckless in the ring. I think that he's been working with guys like John Cena, and it's helped him out a lot. But I don't see the Ryback as a WWE World Heavyweight Champion type guy. I'm hoping that this gets us, obviously the fallout from Survivor Series. We're going to talk about Survivor Series a little bit before we get into Raw tonight. But the fallout from Survivor Series is what we're going to be seeing going into TLC, and I guarantee you we're either going to get our boy or your boy Ryback against my boy Rusev for the U.S. title. That'll at least give Ryback a championship program to work. Yes, the only other time he's worked a championship program was with John Cena and CM Punk when he was thrust into the main event program when he wasn't ready. But at least maybe now he can step up mid-card title to mid-card title, and then maybe if the company feels like putting a rocket on him sometime down the line, maybe if he gets a little bit more tread underneath him, then maybe they'll give him a shot at being a main eventer, at being in the main event title picture. But I think we're going to see Rusev versus Ryback, and I'm excited about it because those guys I think will be two monsters hitting in the ring. We've seen Rusev work with guys like Big E, and to much our surprise, those matches were good. So I'm looking forward to seeing Ryback and Rusev. Are you?
No, definitely. I mean, the crowd in St. Louis, those kind of couple minutes in which they were face to face in the ring, the crowd was actually quite invested in it. And just to go back about WWE's perception of Ryback, I mean, I just didn't think it was coincidental how he was booked with Triple H on those 3 consecutive shows. He might have just been a victim of circumstance with Sting becoming a last-minute deal probably, and you have Roman Reigns coming back, so it may even be better for him. Let him have to work his way up to a main event feud instead of just, being handed a main event feud with Triple H, John Cena, CM Punk. It could benefit him. Like we saw Ziggler. I mean, he's been working up to a main event level for years and years now, and he finally got that on last night, and hopefully that continues for him.
Yeah, man. There's been so many starts and stops for Ziggler when it comes to a main event run. And most recently in 2013 with the Money in the Bank briefcase, which made him even bigger than he was before. He won the Money in the Bank briefcase. I love the fact that when he pulled the briefcase down in the match against John Cena, it was freaking ridiculous how everybody just went nuts for him, and that was kind of like your ticket. Everybody knows, all right, Ziggler's over. Whether he's a heel or a face, everybody was like, okay, Ziggler is one of the best workers we got. He's over. We're on this guy's side. And of course, then he worked with Chris Jericho before Chris Jericho left in 2013, which was a fantastic feud, or in 2012 actually. And then in 2013, Chris Jericho returned. They had their epic 45 and 46-minute runs in the Royal Rumble, which was fantastic. And then they worked together again. And of course, Dolph turned face and won the World Heavyweight Championship and got concussed the same week, which was just absolutely one of the worst things that could have happened. Then he complained a little bit too much outside of the ring and outside of what the higher-ups would have wanted him to, and he spent the last year basically doing the Vince McMahon rehabilitation method for talent that likes to speak their mind, and that's eating plates and plates of you-know-what and learning how to love it. And I think that's where for some reason, that's where Cesaro is right now. Where he was supposed to get this push and started getting it at WrestleMania, and of course is now eating plates and plates of absolute crap and having to deal with it. But I love the fact that Ziggler, they literally made Ziggler shine last night like they did with Shawn Michaels in 1995. And if we can keep Ziggler in this style of push, if we can keep Ziggler this hot, then I think Ziggler has a really good shot of I don't know if he has a good shot of mimicking Shawn Michaels' career all the way to where it was, because Shawn Michaels is Shawn Michaels, but he's a really good worker, and he has a lot of Shawn in him, especially his charisma and the way that he works in the ring, the moves that he uses. He's so good, and I hope that he stays atop and actually gets a main event run here. I really, really do. And for people that think the IC strap, now that he doesn't have the title, he's just going to go downhill from here. That's not the case. It's just not. The titles are not expected to make the guy is supposed to make the title. When Dolph Ziggler held the IC title, he made the IC title more relevant, and that's what they're supposed to do. And now that he doesn't have it, he can go into that main event status and actually work there. And I think they would be stupid. I want to know your point. I want to know your thoughts on this too, because everyone's been asking us, and that's why we're talking about Survivor Series now on Twitter, on Facebook. Everybody's been asking us, what now for these 10 guys that was in the main event last night? Where do we go from here? How do we book TLC? How's WWE going to book TLC? And after I finished watching last night, I thought instantly, you got to give, obviously, for the a billionth time, which is just a waste of a match, we're going to see John Cena versus Big Show, which I'm not holding my breath that that's the TLC match, because we've heard the rumors that Brock Lesnar might face John Cena. But what are your thoughts on the fact that the Big Show turned heel yet again? That's freaking at least, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, I think 8 face to heel, heel to face turns in the last 3 years, 2 years, maybe 8. And no, I think it's been the last 3 years. The last 3 years, Big Show has turned face or heel at least 8 times. And it just, what do you think about this? Where are we going with this? Is it going to lead to Show versus Cena or at TLC, or do we get that on a Raw or SmackDown?
It's one of those things where you're surprised when it actually happens, and then you go back and think, oh, well, you know what, we should have seen this coming. But I hope it doesn't happen at TLC, but I really think that's the way it's going to go. For me personally, I don't see Brock Lesnar wrestling at TLC and facing John Cena. Instead, I think we are going to see this Show versus Cena feud. It's not going to headline TLC, of course, but it's going to be up there. I mean, if John Cena's in the program, it's going to be in that upper main event status. But I think it's a price that the fans at least will pay for hopefully a lot more interesting and better programs, not just a one-match pay-per-view or one-match show at TLC.
Yeah, I mean, I just with Lesnar as the wild card, I don't know what we're gonna see Cena booked as yet. And we know, of course, Team Cena won. For those that did not get to see Survivor Series, shame on you. It's free. I don't know why you haven't signed up and gotten the network yet. The show started out like a Raw with Vince McMahon and the Authority coming out and of course talking smack with John Cena. As much as I hate the fact that it was the Big Show that turned, I mean, you could have gotten away with Eric Rowan turning if you weren't going in this strange face, realm with him. I think they're just trying out, can Eric Rowan work as a face in this new creepy weird pedophile, you know, trying to figure out a Rubik's Cube in the back. This character that's just different. I think they want to try that out as a face and see what happens. I mean, he got some good pop last night when he and Harper were working against each other in the ring, and I think that's where we're going to see those two guys go moving forward, working together for the IC title. But, man, the show itself was kind of weird the entire night to get us to the main event, which obviously was what the show was all booked about. The main event was the main thing. Just to run down the card for you guys, obviously in the kickoff show we saw the new Fandango squash Justin Gabriel in La Parka pants for some reason. I'm not really sure what the deal was there. Fandango came out, showed a more aggressive side. They changed his theme so people cannot Fandango anymore with him. There's no chance that people can sing along, and of course, you know, who cares really? It's Fandango. He's with Rosa. It doesn't make any kind of sense. I still love his guillotine leg drop. It's going to mess his spine up at some point in his career, but he does one of the nastiest guillotine leg drops I've seen in a very long time. He lays that thing on thick. And of course, we got. I want to know your thoughts on this. Because it baffled me when it started. Cesaro came out at the end of the kickoff show and talks about being neutral and shows a little bit more of his charisma, which he has. I mean, he's good at it. I still think that creative has no idea what to do with him, and they're just forcing him to job at the moment for some backstage politic reason. But Cesaro came out, and holy crap! Like, here comes Jack Swagger. Now, if Jack Swagger is cleared to wrestle, why was he not on Team Cena?
Good question. I thought when you saw this match, it was at the end of the kickoff, correct?
Yes, it was at the end of the kickoff show. It was Jack Swagger versus Cesaro out of left field.
I figured they would either add them to Team Cena versus Team Authority or just have them like interfere whenever this match breaks down at the end. It was very bizarre because like you said, I mean, Jack Swagger was technically law. He can't wrestle back on the Go Home show, Monday Night Raw, or maybe it was the Raw in England. But you would think they would just keep him off the show just because there's this big logic gap there. So I didn't understand the point of the match because they didn't end up appearing at the actual pay-per-view portion of the event.
Right, which I don't get why they even used him at all. I understand because they had they had 4 hours of material with 5 matches on the card, so I understand that they needed to fill time. But they could have easily let the Divas match go shorter. Obviously the Divas title match was super short, but the Divas tag team match could have gone a lot shorter, and they could have put Cesaro versus Swagger on the actual show, but then you would have had more people than just us sitting around going, well, wait a second. Jack Swagger was supposed to be on Team Cena, so why is he not out there with Team Cena now? I thought that was, for people that actually can think, that's dumb. I don't get why they would use him. Why not have somebody else come out there? I don't know. It baffled me. I didn't really understand it. Obviously, they had to do some filler stuff, and that's what we got. But then we moved on to the tag team title match, which I thought ended with the right people. The people that I said they're the hottest tag team right now because of the hottest guy that's in the tag team division, Mizdow and Miz get the title victory, and now you're gonna see these guys. I think they're gonna use the titles on them much like they did Team Hell No. John Alba said that last night. I think what we saw at the end of that thing with Miz holding both titles but getting booed, and then when Sandow raised his hands, he got cheered. I love this dynamic, and I love the fact that this can go to, well, Miz saying he's the tag team champions, and Sandow's going to agree for a while, and then of course after a while it's going to become. I cannot wait for the fan response when Mizdow finally steps up and defends himself against Miz. He's going to be a huge face. He's going to be a big-time character. Did you see Sandow getting over this well in this character? Did you see Sandow being positioned now where he could eventually kind of spin off of this tag team like Daniel Bryan did from Team Hell No? I mean, honestly, he's so over, and he's so entertaining and has so much charisma. I really think that Damian Sandow, when he finally splits from Miz, can have a shot at getting back into some kind of main event title picture at some point down the line. He's that charismatic. Do you think that? And did you think that this would be where he is?
I definitely agree with that because it was like last year whenever they decided to unify the titles, Sandow was going to become a world heavyweight champion eventually, but he had to unsuccessfully cash in his Money in the Bank briefcase. Now, for me, I didn't really think he would get to this point, especially like way back when he was doing just those like dumb gimmicks of impersonating people. I never thought he would actually get to a point where now he's technically a tag team champion. It just each week in and week out, he finds a way to top whatever he does. And now with the titles, I personally didn't think they would win the titles last night, but it's going to be very beneficial for both he and The Miz. They're just going to have so much more stuff to work with, and week in and week out, Sandow's going to find a way to better his character.
Yeah, I love this guy. I've been a big supporter of Sandow since he started. I thought he took the genius gimmick and from Lanny Poffo and made it so much more entertaining. The Team Rhodes Scholars, if they would have actually ran with that tag team the way it started, that would have been a great team that could have had some longevity. Then him winning the Money in the Bank briefcase really made me think this guy is going to be, world champion very soon. And then of course they unify the titles and Sandow gets lost in the mix, which we knew was going to happen once that happened. So I'm really, really, really happy to see my boy stepping up, showing everybody that yes, I've been here for 7 years and no one really knows me outside of being this character. But I'm going to show every single person that I'm worth something and I can get the job done. And I think we could see Sandow stepping out, becoming a huge face here soon. And I would probably say the tension really starts between the two at Royal Rumble. Maybe Sandow eliminates Miz, and then it just spirals all the way to WrestleMania. Maybe we get the payoff in a match at WrestleMania. Maybe that's when Sandow really steps out as a big-time face. And then we see Sandow move on. I hope it doesn't equate into what we got from Cesaro. Cesaro had his big moment at WrestleMania, and then it's just been downhill from there. But I really think Sandow, and I've said it over and over again when everybody keeps talking about Sandow being a waste and done with, I've said I still have faith. I think the WWE still has faith, and now we're seeing that. He's so over that you can't ignore the fan response, and that's why they're allowing, of course, him to be a champion and get as much TV time as he is. His flip, he flipped over into the ring when Miz got tossed out. That was amazing. Like I loved every minute of it. Or he didn't get tossed out. He got press slammed off the top rope, and so Mizdow just flipped over the top rope, which was absolutely incredible. Good match, good finish, and then of course we had just a bunch of filler. The Divas, I don't understand why they booked all 4 face Divas to defeat Paige. Unless they go into some storyline where Paige is literally facing every single Diva in the locker room. Why did this happen?
I have no idea. I personally thought I was gonna pick the face team Divas if they were to actually make that one of the kickoff matches, because those matches typically end with like the faces going over. But I really didn't get, like, we all picked, I think, Paige her team to win and her to be one of the survivors. So I don't.
All of us did. Yeah.
Yeah, all of us did. Yeah, I had no idea why they would do that if they're just gonna have, like you said, Paige will be kind of like AJ Lee, not liked by anybody, and that way she can roll through the entire Divas division. But at the same time, the rest of the Divas division, besides the Bella Twins and AJ Lee, is pretty weak at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, that was just a terrible, terrible, terrible match, and the booking was bad. Cameron should never step back inside of a ring.
Summer Rae might have been the worst of them.
Oh,
I don't. What happened to her? Can she not wrestle all of a sudden? Is that her new gimmick?
I thought, like, even my wife, who tries to give the girls their due, like, she loves watching Paige wrestle. She loves watching AJ Lee wrestle. She loves watching Natalya wrestle. She actually likes Naomi because Naomi's actually gotten pretty decent in the ring as well. And she made mention of the fact that even though she and I both despise the Emma gimmick. The Emma gimmick is one of the worst things. I hate seeing Emma out there. I hate her little run and dive into the corner. I hate all that stuff. But Emma is a really good ring technician. She can wrestle. And my wife was saying, dude, that Emma girl actually can wrestle. She enjoyed it. But my wife shat so hard upon Layla and Summer Rae. They looked awful. Cameron looked better than Summer Rae and Layla did last night, and that says a lot. I don't know what happened. I mean, I can only wait for Matthews, Summer Rae inclusion into the next Botchamania, because she was botching stuff left and right. It was bad. I thought she walked into the turnbuckle with her head. Like, that was the worst thing I have ever seen. And I wanted it to end as fast as possible. I think I used the bathroom twice during that match. It did not need to go as long as it did. And I think that's when everybody started crapping on the event. Like, we knew the undercard was going to be bad, and this is why. This is what we're getting. And then, of course, you get Adam Rose and the Bunny against Slater Gator, another filler match. No real point to this whatsoever. The Bunny gets the win and leaves with the party train. I mean, he leaves with the Rosebuds. So what now? Do we finally get Adam Rose versus the Bunny feud? Does it start tonight?
I guess it would. I just don't see the point. I don't see the point in like a singles feud between the two, because then eventually you're gonna have to reveal the Bunny. And I think you said this in the chat or somewhere else. They were doing like a good job of making sure like the Bunny's skin was never like exposed, so you can see.
Yeah, I tweeted about it last night. Yeah.
Who was under the suit. I just don't understand why you would even need to reveal the Bunny. If you're going to reveal the Bunny as anybody, it's just going to hurt their character, hurt whoever like pops out of there, in my opinion.
I totally agree. And, of course, rumors were for so long that it was going to be, freaking Darren Young who's under the Bunny. And they're going to have to, if it's going to be Darren Young, they're going to have to distance the Bunny from, butt raping Adam Rose last week on Raw, if that's going to happen, because that's just terrible. I mean, that's even worse. But I don't know who. It was obviously a more chunkier guy than Gabriel or Zayn, who's been working as the Bunny. He was wearing a black unitard underneath the Bunny suit. He had a chubbier gut, and of course they taped up his wrist so you couldn't really see his skin. It was still a white guy, but it was a bigger guy. And obviously, if it was 5 years ago, it would be the Brooklyn Brawler, but I don't think it was the Brooklyn Brawler, so I don't know who it was, but it doesn't really matter. It wasn't a good match, and it shouldn't have been on the card, but it was. And then we kept moving forward, and Dean Ambrose and Bray Wyatt gave us a 25-minute promo for TLC. What did you think about that match? Obviously, there wasn't a lot of wrestling when it was the stereotypical stuff, the hard-hitting, brawling moves that we get from both guys. It was kind of sloppy, in my opinion. But what did you think of that, bout? Because it wasn't even really a wrestling match. But what did you think of it?
It didn't really wow me, like in terms of like a wrestling, or like they were basically brawling the entire time. But at the same time, there was very good storytelling with Wyatt and Ambrose, something that you'll just be able to build off of now if you actually give them a real feud and let them be showcased on Monday Night Raw instead of just SmackDown exclusively. I mean, I really liked Wyatt just getting in there with the microphone, like cutting a mini promo on Ambrose in the match, and then you protected them both by having Ambrose just hit him with the chair, then you throw the tables, ladder, chairs, the build to, because it is smart when you have a pay-per-view that's free. You can then entice your fans who are going to pay for that next pay-per-view anyway, show them one of the matches you're going to get. So, I mean, it accomplished what it needed to accomplish. It didn't wow you, but it still was very necessary and essential.
Yeah, I mean, I agree completely. I thought that as much as I wanted to see a really good match, we have plenty of time for that. A TLC match between these guys is going to be really good. They can use their extreme backgrounds, especially Ambrose can use his extreme background to really sell the psychology. The psychology was great. I'll give you that. What you said, the storytelling was fantastic. A lot of people in this day and age, especially with workers like Sami Zayn and Adrian Neville and your Seth Rollins and Dolph Ziggler, like these guys, obviously the drama was there for the main event because it was built so much. But Wyatt and Ambrose wasn't built really well. You got little nuggets of stuff, and they tried to build it on SmackDown, which nobody watches. So, if you're not between 8 and 12, so it's one of those things where there wasn't a lot of build. So I understand. We talked about. You said this match would be a no contest. I said Bray goes over, but I didn't know if it was going to be clean because neither one of these guys could really afford to lose. And what we got was a DQ, and Bray went over by DQ, and it didn't make. I would have liked to have seen Bray Wyatt come out of from under the table laughing. Even more psychology and storytelling would have come out of that, I think. Bray Wyatt just crawls out, maybe even spider walks out from underneath all that stuff, just laughing at Dean Ambrose. I really would have rather had that when Dean Ambrose was on the stage. Maybe we get Wyatt crawl out from under and just start down out laughing at him. That would be some really good psychology. But that was all it was. It was a promo for TLC. They only have 3 weeks from last night. They only had 3 weeks to build towards TLC. That's what you get when you have 6 weeks in between pay-per-views. You only have 3 for the next. So you get 3 weeks for TLC. They literally made the match right after that bout took place, and it got promoted on WWE.com. So for me, I mean, I thought that this was a good way to go, because even though, and yeah, Ed, I said Dean Ambrose could be the one to lose the match outright because his personality is that good to bounce back from it and not need the win. I was meaning that everyone else was saying that they couldn't afford the loss. I know B-Song definitely was hitting on the fact that he didn't think Ambrose could afford the loss there. I said he could. Just to reiterate, Ed, since you're making a big deal about it in the chat room. I did say that Ambrose could afford it, and I still think he could. But this is why also Ambrose could afford to do this heelish. I mean, what he did was a heel move. I mean, he hit him with a chair, he got disqualified, and then he proceeded to keep raping him through weapons. I mean, of course, it's a heel move, but he's so charismatic and everything that he can pull off the heel stuff and still be a face. And it was obviously all a promo package, a 25-minute promo package for TLC, which I still think that we get a really good bout there from those guys. As much as I would have rather seen a wrestling match. It's the same kind of thing at Night of Champions with Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose, where we didn't get the match. They just fought all over the arena and even out in the parking lot, and it just set up for what we got at freaking Hell in a Cell, which was a really good Hell in a Cell match, until Bray Wyatt ruined it. So I thought it was what it was. I thought it was good, pretty good on that level. So moving on, we had a Divas Championship match, which AJ Lee got squashed. Is Brie Bella full heel?
I don't know, because in my opinion, you would think this is leading to a triple threat at
right.
TLC, especially like if AJ Lee is going to stay with the company through, then you would have to have this be a triple threat. Now, the only thing I could see is technically tonight, I think at least how they build this is Brie Bella is still technically Nikki's assistant tonight, so possibly, I know she's in there cheering with her, they seem to be on the same page for the first time in a couple of months. But I'm sure you'll have Brie Bella probably turn on her either on SmackDown or next week on Monday Night Raw. Then you have AJ Lee obviously get involved because she was basically squashed, like he said, unfairly. And I mean, we'll get a triple threat at TLC, but other than that, I'm not really looking forward to much.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like it's something to look forward to. It's really not. It's another Bella feud. But I agree. I don't think you can have Brie Bella be full heel with her husband, Daniel Bryan, at this point, and he's out. I mean, he's not even there. I mean, if you wanted to do it right now, you could, because Daniel Bryan's not there, and they're not using them together. So they could if they wanted to, but I think exactly like you do. I think we see Brie kind of teasing that she's full heel until Nikki, until she's done with Nikki tonight. They may even have a segment tonight where Brie says, "Okay, you're no longer my assistant." At that point, Brie just lays her out with a running knee or something, and then we get, obviously Brie Bella wants a shot at the title. AJ Lee says she has a rematch clause, and that's when we get our triple threat, which could be a ladder match if they do what AJ Lee has been saying she wants to do. She wants to do she's been vying for the women to do a more extreme match, like a ladder match, and I just maybe we get that as AJ Lee's farewell. She wants the ladder match. She gets it. And what we do know is that women that can work, like AJ Lee, can pull off a ladder match. Gail Kim and Taryn Terrell did one in TNA in 2013 that was absolutely incredible. It was actually a really, really good Divas match. So we know it can be done. But it's got to be the right people. I would much rather see it with AJ Lee and Paige than anybody else.
Definitely.
But I think that if they're going to do it that way, these girls will work really, really hard to make it look good. At least we know that AJ and Bree and Nikki all have 3 really good coaches that they currently have sex with that will allow them a good ear to get notes and figure out how they should work this match if they actually do a ladder match at TLC for the Divas title. I really hope they do. I mean, that'll at least be something to actually build up and promote. I mean, you're promoting the first ever Divas ladder match in WWE's history. You could get some good publicity from that. I think they should do it. That's my opinion.
Just feels wrong though. I mean, you have AJ Lee, like you said. I'd much rather it be like with Paige. If AJ Lee does happen to stick around until like WrestleMania season, Royal Rumble, I'd rather you have that be just a singles match between 2 people that the fans are actually invested in, instead of just having it be like at a TLC gimmicked pay-per-view with AJ Lee and then the Bella Twins.
Yeah, I mean, I agree completely. Again, like I said, I really think that we're getting to TLC. You know, that's why they're going to want to do a ladder match. But I would rather see Paige with AJ Lee, not the Bellas. And that's just common sense, is that you would rather see Paige and AJ Lee. Then we had the main event, which was the thing of the night. You know, we talked about the fact that I would believe Sting was there when I saw Sting, and buddy, I saw Sting, and let me tell you something. You know, I've been watching wrestling since 1992. Back then, Sting looked a little bit different. But I'm in South Carolina, man, born and raised. Easier for me to go to WCW shows than WWE shows. They came around more often. I was a WCW mark as much as I was a WWF mark at the time, and as a kid, blonde-haired Sting was I mean, he was colorful. He was all over the place. He was energetic. He was the younger. You know, he was the Shawn Michaels to WCW that was in WWF. That was the match that everybody actually wanted to see for the longest time, was Shawn Michaels versus Sting from, you know, 95 Shawn Michaels versus 95 Sting was a big, you know, a big rumored match that both companies wanted to see happen at some point. We never got to see that. I love kayfabe kayfabenews.com. I'm just going to plug a different website. I don't care who you are. Go to kayfabenews.com. It is some of the most creative and hilarious fake wrestling news, and yeah, fake wrestling, like that's a double negative. But fake wrestling news that's absolutely hilarious. They literally ran a story. We talked about the fact that Sting, you know, had the opportunity to come over in 2001 and be a part of the WCW invasion angle. He opted not to. They literally did a story this morning about Sting being 13 years late to the WCW invasion angle. I mean, because the WCW and ECW invasion angle came to a head at Survivor Series 2001, which that main event was one of the best main events in Survivor Series history, if not the greatest main event in Survivor Series history. And dude, I loved that article saying that he was 13 minutes late because of his chronic tardiness.
The end was the best.
That he missed out and that he spent and he spent an undesiring 10 years in Orlando. He just got stuck down there. That he didn't really want to be there. That article's fantastic. Go look that up. But Sting is in WWE. He's not slated to be there tonight, even though if it was me and I was the one booking Raw, I'd have to have him on the show. I mean, Kim Kardashian broke the internet. Sting destroyed the internet. Last night, that's all I saw on Twitter and on Facebook. Everybody talking about Sting and WWE. 13 years coming. I mean, big news. And he came out to a new theme, which, of course, people are bickering about already. Like, he shouldn't even have a new theme. They should just use the WCW theme. But I love the entrance video. I loved the way they brought him out. They brought out, at the end of this thing where John Cena's eliminated, so all the casual fans think that John Cena is gonna, that Team Cena is gonna lose now because Dolph Ziggler's the only one left, and God forbid they let Dolph Ziggler get the victory here. Big Show knocks out John Cena, turns his back on Team Cena, and joins the Authority, or at least shakes their hand to say, I want to keep my job. I'm turning heel again, like always. Or he'll be on TV crying tonight. I don't know what's going to happen. But either way, Big Show turned on Team Cena, knocked out Cena, eliminated Cena. So now you have just Dolph Ziggler. And, of course, Dolph Ziggler gets 2 roll-up pins for victories, and it's just left with Seth Rollins and Dolph Ziggler. And we get one of the best 15-minute matches I've seen in a very long time out of Dolph Ziggler and Seth Rollins. That's why I think you got to go with Ziggler and Rollins coming out of this pay-per-view
Definitely.
for TLC. Even though they're still saying Randy Orton's coming back either tonight or next week to set up a main event with Seth Rollins, I just don't see why. You have Dolph Ziggler now, who's a main eventer. You have made him into a main event guy, making him get the victory over all these other guys last night at Survivor Series. You've got to make Dolph Ziggler versus Seth Rollins happen, because that 15 minutes was amazing. Period. Absolutely, period. It was incredible. It was the best 15 minutes of the show. Really, really good back and forth wrestling, but they were telling a story at the same time. The drama was there. It was fantastic. I loved every minute of it. Of course, Triple H had to get involved. We called that. We said Triple H has to get involved. If he's not going to be wrestling, then at some point he's going to get pissed off and get in the ring. And he pulled the ref out. I literally sat here and called everything that was coming from my wife, and she's dying out laughing because I said, all right, Triple H has got to pull the ref here. Oh, yep, there's the ref getting
hard body ref.
Slowest pull ever. And then, of course, pedigree. And I knew he was calling it official, but I did not even think that he was going to go for Scott Armstrong again. Here comes Scott Armstrong out of left field. Perfect little note to throw in there. Like, I love the consistency. It is. It's the little thing. I love the consistency in the authority where they pull out the freaking hard body ref. They pull out Scott Armstrong. They bring him down, and of course he gets in to make the slowest fast count ever. If you got someone on payroll to come do a 3 count for you, it should be a fast count, but no. He gets 1 down and looks back to see when's Sting coming, and boom, lights go out, crow calls, and we get Sting, and it was fantastic. If you can tweet or get on Twitter and find, there's videos of the fan reaction in the arena. Dude, the fan reaction in the arena did not come through the TV well. Yeah, they didn't have the arena mic'd well.
I heard about that, but I didn't the WWE already pulled down most of the videos of the crowd reaction from the Scott Trade Center.
Yeah, I mean, you can Scott Trade Center got such a bad rap on Twitter all night because you couldn't hear them really well. But I saw the cell phone video on Facebook earlier today. This guy that was there said, "Look, this was the reaction from my seat. I'm sorry it didn't come over really well on pay-per-view, but the place lost their mind. I mean, you couldn't hear anything. His phone was shaking because of how loud the arena was. I loved it. There's no better way they could have brought him in. I mean, now they have to explain why he helped Team Cena. They're going to have to be awesome with their creative here to figure out why he came in and attacked Triple H. But my, oh my, was that not just the perfect way? He didn't say a word. He came out. He drilled Scott Armstrong, which they've wrestled before in WCW. Drills Scott Armstrong, gets in the ring, does a 2-minute stare down with Triple H where at some point they left the camera on Triple H's face when he said, "What the are you doing here?" And Sting just goes, "Huh?" And boom. Sting, it didn't look like he missed a beat. He swerved really quick. He did a really awesome Stinger quick kick, and then, of course, a vicious, we're talking, he never did one like this ever in the history of TNA. 10 years there, I've never seen Sting drop someone with the Scorpion Death Drop like he did last night since WCW days. Since he used to drop people like Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, the NWO, he literally came in and dropped Triple H hard with a Scorpion Death Drop, and I guarantee that was Triple H. Triple H wanted to make him look $1 million and said, "Drop me hard, I don't care." It's to end an angle. You need to, and to set up WrestleMania feuds. You need to drop me and make it look vicious, and that's exactly what he did. B-Song, you were born when Sting modified his look to the Crow gimmick, and I know that you've been able to go back and watch WCW and watch some of the Nitros and get a feel of what Sting was all about. But as for me, as a 30-year-old man who started watching wrestling in '92 when Sting was red hot, doing a feud with Cactus Jack, and went to wrestling events as a kid and was there when he was dropping down from the rafters and attacking the NWO, was there for every big moment with Sting. Man, I marked out something huge. I literally was so excited when I finally saw him in a WWE ring that I was awake for like 2 hours longer than I usually would have been. I mean, I was getting put to sleep by the pay-per-view, and then boom, Sting's there, and now I'm just like this for the next 2 hours because I just couldn't get over it. It was awesome, and I really appreciate the fact that Vince McMahon finally got it to happen. I never thought I'd see it. And I just want to thank Vince McMahon for that because, good God Almighty, I've been waiting for that for so long. I loved Sting as a kid. I loved the modification in his character to go forward. The Wolfpack was kind of a bad idea, but everything after that, TNA wasn't great, obviously, for anybody involved. Even though he was the first person inducted into TNA's Hall of Fame, which doesn't amount to anything. A pile of wet cardboard, maybe, I don't know. But Sting is in WWE. Tell me what your reaction to it was, and when was the first time you really started getting into seeing Sting in the ring?
I mean, I really got into Sting probably like the mid-late 2000s when I really like went back to look through, WWE and WCW history. I mean, I was genuinely surprised about the whole thing because as the match just hit that lull whenever, Big Show turns heel on John Cena, it keeps hitting that lull. I'm like, they need to end this just spectacularly in some way. You have, like, Sting, Bryan, hell, I even threw Punk's name out, even though that's not going to happen. I mean, and they went out and did it. And I like, too, how they leaked the things about, what's planned for Sting now is that he's going to come out in this segment before one of the, before the Divas elimination match, and they're just gonna, enshrine him into WWE officially, and then out comes main event time, and everybody's like, "Oh, Sting's not gonna be here." I'm like, and people were gonna be so mad about the whole thing, and then that way, when he does appear, everybody marks the hell out about it. I thought they went about it perfectly with these leaks, so to speak, and it was just amazing. The only bad thing about it is every time like something big happens, Michael Cole's like, "Oh my God!" One of the worst "oh my gods" you can get. I'd rather, just not tell the announcers what's going to happen in the main event, because there were even reports that like there were people in the back, like the writers didn't even know what was going to happen.
Right, because they had leaked scripts. Like legitimately, they made up 2 or 3 different scripts last night. Randy Orton was in it. Roman Reigns was in it. No one knew what the segments were going to be with Randy Orton and Roman Reigns. They thought Roman Reigns may actually be there, which is why we got those reports. And, of course, Randy Orton was in St. Louis but not used. He was backstage. So some writers knew they had written something for Randy Orton, but he wasn't used. And, of course, Sting being there, brilliant marketing on WWE's part. I'm sorry, Triple H is a reality guy. He loves dirt sheets. He's on Reddit. He's looking at what people say, and he really wants to listen to the IWC. He really wants to listen to the fans. He knows that the fans are what makes the business run, and he wants to listen to them. Look at the stars that they have in NXT. Look at the guys that Triple H is handpicking for the company. Kevin Steen, Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, Fergal Devitt. I mean, look at these guys that he has running with him. I mean, you got Daniel Bryan and Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose, all these guys that people have been raving about on the internet for years, finally in one spot in the WWE. And they're gonna be going against people that are bigger, but coming from different backgrounds, like Rusev and these monster heels that they're developing for the future, and Baron Corbin and these guys that are coming up. I mean, I love the fact that they leaked scripts. Okay, I love the fact that they were smart enough to say to Mike Johnson, somebody from WWE emailed Mike Johnson at PW Insider. Period. I don't care what anybody says. The source that they had was someone from WWE. I don't care what anybody wants to say. If Sting had not shown up, Mike Johnson's career at PW Insider would be completely, utterly wasteful. I mean, he would not have a job anymore, period. Because he assured everybody that Sting is supposed to be there. Sting is being flown from Dallas to Kansas City and then being drove in. I mean, he had too many details to be wrong, and I think WWE gave him those details. Just like I believe at the end of last year that WWE purposefully leaked that Batista would be on house shows and at arenas for Raw because they wanted people to know Batista's going to be coming back, and they wanted to gauge how the fan response was going to be for that. That's why, and same thing for Hogan, and same thing for when they leaked these things. I really think it's to gauge what the fan response is going to be. And I really believe they leaked this about Sting. They leaked it about Randy Orton, even though he wasn't used. They made you, I mean, using the script saying Sting's going to be coming out before or after the Divas match, and then, you know, talking about setting up a match with The Undertaker at WrestleMania 31. That right there, which got reported on multiple news sites, made people think, okay, he's not here. Of course, I was texting my bros and talking to y'all in the chat, going, okay, they're just gonna make us wait. They're just making us wait. They're gonna make us wait for this. And then, of course, that happening, and then the reports of Orton being there made everybody believe that when Triple H took out Dolph Ziggler, that Randy Orton was going to be the one coming out. I was tweeting RKO 321, RKO's coming, like all this kind of stuff, because that's what they wanted us to believe. And then, of course, and of course, I had always said I'm not going to believe Sting's in WWE until I see him step out there. And boom, one of the greatest surprise moments in pay-per-view history is Sting finally debuts. And what a Survivor Series, you know, what a pay-per-view to do it than Survivor Series. I said during the kickoff match, or during the kickoff show, and throughout the first tag team match, they kept constantly talking about, you know, memorable debuts at Survivor Series. And I said, I wonder if they're teasing a debut tonight of somebody new, and maybe it's Sting. Obviously, they talked about The Undertaker and Rocky Maivia and guys like that made huge first showings at Survivor Series. Obviously, not the gobbledygooker, but of course, Rocky Maivia and The Undertaker are two of the biggest names of all time. The Shield in 2012. Like, these are big-name guys now. And the Survivor Series is where they got their start. And I love the fact that he just came out and dropped Triple H, and now we have no authority on Raw tonight. Now that we have 10, 15 minutes left to talk about Raw, I mean, we set up what we think is going to happen anyway. But Monday Night Raw tonight is going to be crazy. And there's no set card. There's no set preview outside of just recapping TLC. Monday Night Raw is going to start with probably either the Authority, John Cena, or Vince McMahon, or a combination of both, or a combination of all three. John Cena is the only one that can put the Authority back into power. Vince McMahon is obviously supposed to be there tonight. He's gonna, obviously people are lobbying for the general manager job. They're lobbying for the position of power in WWE. Mick Foley's been doing it online. Wade Barrett during the kickoff show said he wants to be the guy that's the GM. Brad Maddox has been talking about it forever, and he's actually still backstage at arenas, so I don't know what's happening there, even though they moved him to the alumni section of the site. Who knows what's going to happen, man? Michael Hayes is on Twitter talking about there's going to be more surprises tonight, probably talking about the New Day debuting with Big E, Kofi Kingston, and Xavier Woods, and probably the return of Randy Orton. But, you know, son of a bee, we got a crazy night of wrestling. And of course, when you have something monumental like Sting debuting last night, it's going to be a crazy show, and it's going to bring a lot of eyes to the TV tonight. What do you think is going to go down tonight? Who do you think they're going to try to start positioning in this power play role? What do you think is going to go down? We know no Authority. Big Show's heel. Ziggler got his moment. There's new Divas champion. There's new tag team champions. What do we do? What's happening tonight? They really pushed a reset button last night. What takes us to Royal Rumble? What takes us to WrestleMania?
I mean, like you said, there's going to be so many added eyes, and I'm really interested to see how many viewers they actually garner tonight. I think you definitely have to have Sting appear tonight, even though there's reports that he's not going to be there. They're branding Raw, I think, on their Twitter accounts at least. They have the Raw logo and then Sting. I think you have to have Sting appear. I don't know what he's going to do. I could even see him as someone that could be thrown into that whole like authority like new authority type of figure. I think you could have him just have guys just kind of interview. Maybe they do something again where you have special guests that actually GM Raw. Have guys like Mick Foley, Bad News Bear, maybe even Sting if you're going to build to a Sting versus Triple H match. Other than that, I would love to see the New Day debut, but it's weird because they reportedly kept that back because of racial tensions. Mm-hmm. And then today you have during Raw is when they're actually going to release a Ferguson verdict if
right.
The officer is going to get indicted. So that's something where I could very well see them hold that back again, especially I think they're in Indy today, but last night they're in St. Louis very close to Ferguson. But I mean, there's going to be a lot of added eyes on the product. We should get a good show with many surprises like Michael Hayes T. So I'm very much looking forward to Raw, even missing out on hockey and football for it, because this is honestly going to be a very good show, in my opinion.
Well, let's talk about this, because I said that there's going to be people lobbying for the position, and someone that hasn't been on TV. And these are from the same guys that reported Sting was going to be there last night, so maybe WWE is doing this again. But we're in Indy tonight for Raw, and guess who's in Indy tonight for Raw?
Oh yeah, I just got that tweet too. Yeah, Brian.
Daniel freaking Bryan is in the house for Raw. He is backstage. You heard it here first on WrestlingRumors.net, on Wrestling Warm-Up. If you're watching, make sure you tell people, man. Daniel Bryan's there. He's probably one of the guys that Michael Hayes was teasing about, surprises. Daniel Bryan, obviously, in the rumor mill, WWE was trying to make you think that he needs another surgery. Daniel Bryan, on the other hand, has been talking about, and he was doing the same promotional market, this PR market for WWE 2K15 as Sting was doing. He was at the Midnight Madness in San Francisco. He was doing a bunch of different things for the WWE last week. And, of course, now you have the Yes Man, the former WWE World Heavyweight Champion, in Indy for Raw tonight. Man, with the Authority gone, and the Authority is the one that cost Daniel Bryan for so long. They were the biggest thorn. If Bryan's not who they're going to use as a GM in the interim, if Bryan's not the guy they're going to put on TV because he's been gone for so long, they may want to use him as the GM to refresh get him back with the fans and in the mentality that he was in with them. Obviously, he had an energy on the show that was lacking for a while. If they use him, if they don't use him for a GM role here, if that's not what he's there for, maybe what they're there for is that they're going to, and this is my prediction for tonight on Raw. This is my what I think when I was asking you, what do you think we got for on stack for Raw tonight? My thing is they're going to get every single person out that the Authority wronged in some way at some point. I don't know if Roman Reigns is going to be there. Maybe he is. Maybe he's not. But I really think that we get the Authority, having their walkout, that they actually do the firing of the Authority in the ring or something. Obviously, Stephanie and Triple H said that it's not over. They're going to fight for this and all this kind of stuff. Maybe you have people like Daniel Bryan, who the Authority wronged for so long. All four guys except for the Big Show. All four guys that the Authority had issues with come out. Obviously, and Marks, just because I'm saying this, please don't say CM Punk. CM Punk's not going to be there. But like Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns and these guys that the Authority was just a freaking thorn in. It would be good to see them on the show just to, maybe it's just a backstage segment where you see Daniel Bryan just kind of look at them as they're walking to their car, as they're getting escorted out to the limo, and he just starts a yes chant, and the place goes crazy. I mean, that's all you need him for. You don't really have to use him anything more than that. But maybe they use him as a GM. I don't know. But Daniel Bryan's backstage and can be used on Raw tonight. Maybe we get Paul Heyman doing a promo about Brock Lesnar. Maybe Brock Lesnar's there himself, and we don't know that. Maybe there's a lot of stuff going on tonight, and that's why it's a must-watch Monday Night Raw. There's not a lot of must-watch Monday Night Raws in this day and age, so this is one that's really exciting. And you can follow us at WrestleRumors and live tweet with us. I'll be covering the Twitter station and the Twitter sphere tonight for Wrestling Rumors at WrestleRumors. And of course, you can follow Alba at John Alba SFC. You can follow Chris Walter at Walter Sports, and you can follow my man right here, Alex B. Song at Glassmode ALB. We'll all be tweeting during the show tonight live. Those guys couldn't be here tonight, but you can also check out, it's a monumental Raw, which means there's got to be a monumental Wrestle Reaction immediately following it. On WrestleReaction.net, you can see Frank Manzo and Vinny Vince Russo and Frank Manzo are going to give you some really thick Italian accents for about an hour, talking about what happens on Raw. And that's going to be a must-see. You need to make sure that you come back to WrestlingRumors.net. Make sure you go to WrestleReaction.net, tune in, get in the chat room, talk to all these guys as they're breaking down Raw. Vince Russo, and Frank Manzo. It's going to be an incredible show. Make sure you tune into that. But follow along with us on Twitter. Make sure you're coming back to WrestlingRumors.net every single day to get your wrestling fix. For B-Song, for myself, for Alba, who's not here, for Walter, who's not here, Thomas Hall, who's not here, but gives you the best daggum live coverage on a website that you could possibly get. Right here at WrestlingRumors.net. We thank you for watching tonight. We had a great turnout. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being in the chat. Thanks for tweeting along with us. We'll catch you during Raw, and then we'll catch you on the next one. Peace out.